So ChatGPT wrote me this recipe for some healthier cookies to bake for the week, and we're gonna try it out and we're gonna see if we like it. My name is Paige Lord, I'm an AI ethicist. This is my channel, AI Ethics with Paige, and I'm starting a new series called Cooking and Baking with Artificial Intelligence. In my role as an AI ethicist, in my work in responsible AI, a lot of what I'm doing is looking for risk, identifying risk, understanding risk, creating risk frameworks. It's all about risk of artificial intelligence. And in that work, it can become really easy to only see the risk and never see the benefit of AI. But it's important to me as an ethicist that I provide a perspective on both the good and the bad. And so I thought that it would be really fun to create this series on cooking and baking with artificial intelligence and ask for some recipes for things that I might want during the week, and then make those and see if ChatGPT or whatever AI we use, in this case is ChatGPT, can put out a recipe that actually tastes delicious. So I am getting married in about 3.5 months. I'm very excited. But one thing I've been doing is trying to make sure that I'm eating healthy, that I'm reducing refined sugars. And so I still want something sweet and something delicious though, as like a little snacky snack, a little dessert. So I wanted to make a healthy cookie, and I have a cookie that's normally my go-to, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. So in ChatGPT, I put in a prompt. What's a good recipe for a gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free healthy cookie? So these are my own personal preferences, but whatever you want to put in ChatGPT or in the AI of your choice is really up to you based on your eating style. I am very excited to try this out today. It's a little warm in my kitchen, so I'm gonna take off my sweatshirt and put on my apron. Okay, let's get started. So here's the recipe, put it up on the screen. It calls for almond flour, coconut flour, baking soda, and salt as the dry ingredients. And it also calls for chocolate chips. These are no sugar added chocolate chips, so I just wanted to show these to you. These are from Hu Chocolate. Hu Chocolate is my go-to. When I want a chocolate bar, I'm not a Hershey girl, I go for Hu Chocolate. They use coconut sugar and other sweeteners instead of refined sugar, which I love. So these ones have cacao, date, cocoa butter, and organic vanilla bean. And that's it. Definitely excited to use these today. It says that we can add in optionally some nuts. It calls for walnuts, but I don't think I have walnuts. I have pecans though. I'll do pecan, why not? One thing that I'm nervous about with this recipe is that it doesn't have egg in it, because I'm used to like a chocolate chip cookie recipe having egg in it. So 1 1/4 cups of almond flour, I think that's pretty good. Already making a mess, check. And 1/4 cup of coconut flour, which I happened to already have. When you have a gluten allergy or when you're making gluten-free food, you tend to have a collection of flours. Baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm a little less precise with some of the flours and stuff, but when it comes to baking soda and baking powder, I try to be pretty precise. And then we've got 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay. So we have all this and we need to whisk it together. Try to get all those lumps out. 1/3 cup of coconut oil, melted. It calls for either maple syrup or honey. I like maple syrup a little better for a cookie. So I'm gonna get some maple syrup going. You need 1/3 cup of that. Okay, we've got that. Perfection. And then a teaspoon of the vanilla extract. So it says, add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, stirring until it's just combined. The dough might seem a bit wetter or oilier than a traditional cookie dough, but this is normal for gluten-free cookies. I don't know if I would say it's normal for gluten-free cookies, having made a lot myself, but I do think that it is normal for a cookie in which you're using 1/3 cup of coconut oil. And this is the point where I'm going to preheat my oven to 350. So coconut oil is melted. Just make sure that we're not putting in too much. Cool. So that's perfect. So I always remeasure the coconut oil after I've melted it down, because it as a solid is not going to be the same as it as a liquid. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. It says mix it until it's well combined, which I feel like is maybe a fork situation. This taking a while to get it to combine well, but I think it's going to be worth it. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little cleanup real quick. Okay, so we've got our dry ingredients, we've got our wet ingredients. I've got a paddle to mix it all together. There we go. Okay. I got it, it's fine. Okay, it says mix it until it's just combined. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this doesn't look like a lot of cookie dough for the amount of ingredients we're about to pour into it, but let's give it the old college try and see what ChatGPT has come up with. So I'm going to chop up our chocolate chips. I have a feeling this isn't gonna be it, but we're gonna try. Okay, so a lot of chocolate chips. And I'm gonna give these a chop because I like having smaller like chocolate bits in my cookies. And then pecans also have a cup. These are already in pieces, so pecans. Give these guys a stir. So I'll show you what this looks like. It's basically like all chocolate chip and pecan. But this is what we signed up for. So we've added everything in. Now it says to scoop it onto a prepared baking sheet and bake for 10 to 12 minutes until the edges are lightly golden brown. I feel like these might come together a little better if they were like refrigerated maybe. So we're just gonna start with one set of these. I also thought, and I didn't want to alter the recipe on this first round of baking because I wanted to see what this would come up with, but I thought that these might be good, these might be interesting if they had flaxseed in them and coconut flakes added to them. So my camera turned off right after I started rolling the cookie dough. So here's what happened in the meantime. I rolled the cookie dough, I baked the cookies, I let them bake for 12 minutes. I pulled them out of the oven, I let them cool on the pan for 5 minutes, and then I let them cool on the rack for 5 minutes. I asked how many cookies should this recipe make? ChatGPT came back and said 12 to 15 cookies, which told me with my 4 cookies here using most of the dough, that I missed something. So I went back and I reread and I saw that I missed that it did say tablespoon size scoops. Obviously I didn't do that. So these cookies are a little bit crumbly. They're delicious though. I did try one. It is delicious and it does firm up as it cools. So this one's almost cooled. I took the rest of the dough, which I had put in the fridge, and I pulled it out and I did tablespoon size scoops instead. And we have about 5.5 minutes left. They're little tiny cookies. They're super cute. And I'm excited to try those and see if those ones are going to be a little bit better. I feel really sad that my camera cut out during the inaugural bake. It's ridiculous. Okay, these are so cute. Look at those. Boop. So now we let these sit for 5 minutes. Okay, Google, set a timer for 5 minutes.
All right, 5 minutes, starting now.
These cookies are cuter. And I know, like Paul Hollywood, I don't think that he would rate a cookie. I don't think he'd be like, this has a cuteness factor of 10. But maybe he should. Now we get to move these to a cooling sheet. Now these feel like they have a little more structure than the bigger guys did, which of course makes sense because they were baked for the same amount of time, but they are smaller, so they're more baked through. Final taste test. I think I'm gonna go for this guy. This was the perfect tablespoon size, so I didn't overscoop it. I overscooped that one a little bit. They're better smaller. That's clear to me now. They're better smaller. Definitely would recommend this recipe. Oh, it's so good. So thanks for tuning into my series, Cooking and Baking with Artificial Intelligence. I think This was an awesome kickoff. I think I'm pleasantly surprised, and I definitely learned a lot, and I was proven wrong on more than one point. So maybe ChatGPT does know what it's talking about when it comes to baking cookies. I feel good about moving forward with this. I would love to continue this series and continue to see what ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence platforms put out there in the world when it comes to cooking and baking. If you have suggestions or things that you want to see me cook or bake with artificial intelligence, please let me know in the comments. I would love to take a look at those. And thanks for tuning in.